So at first, you start off with a EQI test, and she figures out where you are on the spectrum so that she can adequately help you on your journey, and so that you can see your growth, because you take it in the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. She works us through the methodologies, because she has the, I guess you would say, the educational portion, and then she also works with us on the physical portion, which is the pure Krav Maga. And when you first start, you're just like, physical, yes, and then you realize as you're doing a lot of the educational parts, you're just like, Friday, we'll do the physical Friday, and like you're so invested in the work and the growth that you have in the work. I never knew that this could tie in, or I never knew this was important, or I would have never thought that these two would go together. And then when you're in the class, you're just like, well, duh. There's no way you can learn this without learning that. And you sit there, I would have never put that together myself. And you really see that God blessed that program. She would show us, debriefing methods. She would show us ways to change the behavior positively, or how you can notice it, the triggers behind it, and how you can avoid it. I'm just like, probably should use these. And then at first I was very reluctant. I'm not even gonna lie. I was very, very reluctant. But believe in the process. And when I tried it, I was like, my life is so much easier. Why did it take me so long to do this? Kathy Sue was like, well, let's debrief. And I'm just like, okay. And then when we were talking about it, it was like, boom, that's why. I don't know, I guess you can just say, she has helped me figure out who Linda is, and her program has helped Linda figure out where Linda wants to go. We've done a plan of action that takes me about 20 years to do. Amount of self-discovery in this class. You'd be like self-defense and self-discovery. I wouldn't have put those two together. But then when you really think about how to properly defend yourself, you have to know yourself. You have to know your boundaries. You have to know your limits. You have to know what triggers you, and you have to know what brings you out of that. Feedback from our classmates about perceptions of self and how they see it. And you learn a lot of your thought process as projections. And you're like, yeah, my class doesn't like me, but that's fine because cool. And you find out your classmates are like, no, that was pretty dope. And you're just like, what? You really, I thought so, but you think so too? And it was just really helpful to get that perspective. And she does that a lot in a lot of her different things. When we learned about, the foresight, you learn about how you learn. So like there's integrator, there's, Yes! The classifier and the ideator, it's developer and implementer in business. Developer is integrator. So, like I said, I always confuse them. But when you look at that, you learn how you learn, you're like able to pick up things so much more quickly. You're just like, this works for me. Or for me, as an ideating developer, I learned that I will spend hours creating ideas and then want to do them. Like the how doesn't really count, the when doesn't really count. It's just going to happen. And then I've learned to time myself. So you got 10 minutes to create ideas. And then in 15 minutes, we're going to review them to move forward. So it's helped me. And it's also helped me in my workplace, because I'm looking at people, I'm like, oh, you're a clarifier. So I'm going to have to bring documents for our next meeting. And then you're looking at someone else and you're just like, oh, you're one of those go-getting implementers. Okay, so we're going to call on you when it's time to actually put this in action. And work, class, personal life, you're just like, I can see how we're forming groups now. And I would have never thought just learning someone's learning styles would do that. But being able to identify them, I've been able to put teams together and they work really well. They actually show up for shifts and like, you're just like, yes, Jesus, work. And you sit there and you're just like, it comes from the things I learned at this program. It's so focused on developing you that you realize you can help other people develop by developing yourself. If you are able to act physically but get stuck mentally because you're messed up emotionally, you can't defend yourself. If you get triggered and you have all the capabilities and the strength to attack physically, but you're not prepared for the consequences, it can mess you up mentally. And when you take in the emotional component, you think about the consequences. You think about responding instead of reacting. You think about how are you. You also think about what about them.